Talk to the Future, where the future of sales isn't predicted, it's built. Each episode features real conversations with the operators, marketers, and innovators driving what's next. From AI and automation to the strategies that are converting right now. No fluff, just what's working.
All right, Mr. Bigley here, live from LeadsCon. I'm here with Jack from Web Recon. Jack, hey, tell us a little bit about how you got involved with what you're doing these days. I bet you have a product that no one actually knows exists, right? That like 99% of the small home service providers, financial service providers, like they don't even know it's out there. So.
Yeah, so which is ironic because we were actually the first. We're the original company to do what we do. I come out of the credit space. Where back in the mid-2000s ran actually a collection agency.
Okay.
Which is...
What was that like?
That was the worst job I've ever had. It was so hard. It was, everything about it was hard.
Why was it the worst job you ever had? I want details.
You want details?
Yeah.
Well, let me put it to you this way. I was in way over my head, right? I had just sold a company. I'd built a marketing agency actually before that in the entertainment space. And I was looking for...
You weren't one of these guys who came from the adult industry, right?
No. Mainstream movie space.
All right.
So I was looking for a new challenge, and I came across this collection agency, and I was intrigued by it. But I didn't know anything about the industry. And so long story short, I jumped in way over my head. I got into this thing. Everything that I had been led to believe about it was kind of a lie.
That's what happens when you buy someone else's business.
That's what happens when you buy someone else's, especially when you don't know what the hell you're doing. And so about 2 or 3 years into that experience, consumer litigation started to explode against collection agencies. And I watched this, I had this amazing education in running a business in an industry that I knew nothing about, right? So I've been learning everything about it.
Was the education that you started getting litigation against you?
The education was everything. I mean, it came at me from every direction: compliance, ops, technique, HR, just all the parts of running a business, on a bigger scale than I had when I had this marketing agency. And I learned a lot about the industry itself, and I listen. My philosophy as an entrepreneur is you got to immerse yourself, right? You have to understand your market. You have to read the magazines. You have to go to their conferences. You have to. You have to live and breathe the problems.
I don't think I would have been successful if I didn't start going to these conferences.
Absolutely.
Like just the people I met and how much industry knowledge was out there and how kind of in my own bubble I was. There was so much more in the world that I just didn't know existed. And you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. I mean, it's easy when you're living inside of your own little bubble, right? When you're living in a business, when you're literally solving the problems of the day, right, in your immediate surroundings, and you don't know what all of your peers are doing. You don't know how they're solving their problems. You don't know all the innovative new approaches that there are.
I have an opinion. All the B2B guys are about 20 years behind the B2C guys right now. Just that all the B2C guys were forced to adopt advertising and learn how to advertise, and the B2B guys are still running a 1990s playbook with the CRM attached to it.
For sure. The B2C moves a lot faster. I mean, there's so, compliance-wise even, that's where all the sandboxes are, right? That's where when you're talking about litigation, for instance, that's where all the experimentation is happening. That's where all the new novel legal theories come out.
Oh, right? For sure.
B2C. So anyway, I was running this collection agency. I was learning all about that industry, and then I started getting sued. Right. And it was at the same time that the trend exploded nationally of this consumer litigation, and one of the main reasons for that was that there was one attorney, a guy named Pete Berry, I believe in Minnesota, and he was running boot camps for attorneys to come in and learn how to sue collection agencies, and under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. And that took off, right? All of a sudden, there's all these new attorneys all over the country filing lawsuits against collection agencies. And I saw this happening, and here I was getting my ass kicked every day, running this collection agency, watching this new trend of litigation explode.
So you're trying to squeak out a profit, and then you start getting sued on a daily basis.
Right. And it was actually my third lawsuit.
Which sounds awesome.
Right. It was my third lawsuit in 2008 was the day that I said I've had enough. I don't have the constitution for this. I certainly don't have deep enough pockets for this. And so I found a buyer for my agency. I sold it. I got out from under it. And I had this crazy idea in the back of my head. This is a new problem. There really aren't any solutions out there for it. What if I built a database of all of this litigation that could then be used as a resource for other agencies out there, so that maybe when they get a placement of debt to collect, they can check that against my database and see if anybody on their new list of business has a history of suing other collection agencies. And that was at the end of 2008, early 2009 that I launched that. It took off immediately.
Boy, that wasn't a great time in business either. Like, I remember the end of 2008, beginning of 2009. That's when Lehman collapsed, and the entire financial system. Their word was going to go under because of AIG. And
so, funny aside here. I had no intention of starting a new business. Right, I just got my ass kicked for the last 5 years running this collection agency. What I really wanted to do is find a job somewhere, keep my head down, recover, and then figure out what to do with my life. Well, we were losing hundreds of thousands of jobs a month in this country at the time that I sold my agency.
Yeah.
So that wasn't an option. So my only real option was to try this thing.
I was getting out of grad school then, and it was like, are you going to go work on Wall Street, or going to work on these? No one's going to hire you right now. The end of 2008, like, it just wasn't happening.
It was terrible. It was scary. It was kind of a ridiculous time in our history to be out there trying something. And so here I am starting this company, building out these tools to help collection agencies. And this is before TCPA really took off. We were in a position where we became sort of the gold standard over in the credit side, right? Just about anybody who's anybody, everybody who's anybody in the credit space that deals with consumers uses our service. I was so focused over there, I kind of missed the birth of the lead gen explosion, right? Where TCPA was suddenly becoming the big problem.
So what's happened with TCPA now? Obviously, you guys do TCPA.
So we were collecting TCPA data. We just weren't going after lead gen companies. Also, Fair Credit Reporting Act. That rounds out the big three in terms of consumer protection statutes. So we're sitting on all of this data, and we're watching around 2012, 2013. Now TCPA is starting to really grow in volume.
What was the volume back then?
That's a good question. Probably we saw it go from probably a couple of hundred lawsuits a year in 2013, 2014, to up to probably 2,000, 3,000, maybe even 4,000 lawsuits being filed. By 2020, actually I scribbled a note here. In 2020, there were over 3,200 TCPA lawsuits being filed.
About 2025. Now they're all class actions too.
Yeah. So in 2020, you had some things happen where that kneecapped. I believe that was the Facebook year. That kind of kneecapped TCPA. So it went backwards quite a bit. 2021, it dropped down to 1,700. 2022, it dropped down to a little over 1,500, and then since then it's been growing again. 23, it went up almost 1,700. 2024, almost 2,800 suits. Last year, 2025, we're at over 2,800 TCPA suits. So that volume is definitely growing again.
It's kicking back up here.
Excuse me, my voice is disappearing on me here.
That's okay. So the volume's kicking back up on the TCPA side. It's all class actions now, or almost all class actions. How many legal letters do you see on top of that? How many people, for each lawsuit that you see, how many guys just send a letter and don't actually file?
Somewhere between 80 and 90% of the TCPA suits are class actions. So almost all of them. The letters, we don't have hard data on that. Just because a letter is
it's not going to have a legal.
Anecdotally,
yep.
There are probably 2 letters for every lawsuit that are going out. There, these pre-litigation demand letters.
So about 10,000 this year is what you'd expect to see all across the board.
All across the board, sure. I mean, it's not unreasonable.
Yeah. Why do people have to worry about this?
TCPA is the most terrifying consumer protection
but what if I say screw it? I don't care about what the government says. I'm not going to do what the man tells me to do. I've always called consumers. Like, I have a call center. I'm small. I only got 10 or 15 guys.
I'd love to know how that works out for you.
Let me just call all of them. Like what?
Saying screw it to the. Okay, so. Here's the thing: the government isn't really the one enforcing this.
All right. So why? But why should I care?
It's consumers, because it hits your bottom line. It hits your bottom line hard.
You said it's the most terrifying statute ever. I don't want to know why it's so terrifying.
Pure dollars, right? If you get hit with a TCPA statute, hopefully most of the people who are listening to this know this already. But every time you get one of those pre-litigation demand letters, anytime you get sued, they're looking for $1,500 per call, right? Not particularly if you're talking a class action, you're talking about hundreds, thousands, even tens of thousands or more calls that are all being multiplied by that $1,500 number. That quickly turns into real money. That turns into tens of millions of dollars for some of these companies, and we've seen that in settlements, now, and litigation and judgments.
Is it true they can go after you personally as the business owner as well for TCPA if one of the sales reps that you have is breaking the rules?
That is a thing.
Really? How often does that happen?
Not very often.
Not very often, but it's possible.
It's possible. If you're running a shop and that rules are being broken, that gives opportunistic plaintiffs an opportunity to go to say that you knew this was willful, that you have liability as an individual, as a person, for the way that you're running this company.
Man, that's scary. What's the biggest settlement you've seen, or the biggest penalty you've seen?
Oh man, so I don't know how to answer that, frankly. It's not something that I pay a lot of attention to personally.
Okay.
But I will tell you this. The top plaintiffs that are active in filing these kinds of suits, sending these kinds of pre-litigation demands,
they're all driving Lambos?
They're doing very well. There are hundreds of lawsuits, right? There are consumers in this country. There are individuals who have hundreds of lawsuits behind their name. They are making an incredible living at doing this. In fact, I frequently say this. If I was reborn on this earth without a soul, I know exactly what I would do for a living. Because that has got to be, you don't have to be smart. It helps if you're smart. You don't have to be smart, right? You just have to be focused. You have to be determined. It is easy to get your number out there, to have it be called, right? And this is a numbers game, just like sales is a number game, just like collections is a numbers game.
Yeah.
The more demands you put out there, the more lawsuits you file, the better you're going to do. That's hugely incentivized behavior. for consumers in this country. And it's a hard thing to be on this side of looking at that, fighting that.
Jack, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for all your time today. Where can
My
everyone
pleasure.
find you?
Webrecon.com.
Webrecon.com.
If you're actually seeing us at a conference, we've got the big monster. It says lawsuits suck.
Yeah, you look like a monster.
I look like a monster. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to Talk to the Future, where the future of sales isn't predicted, it's built. If you got value from this episode, make sure to subscribe, share it with your team, and stay connected for more conversations with the people driving what's next. Because what's working tomorrow is already being built today.